Welcome back to another show of Sports Inc. This is the perfect time to reminisce about last week, Mark, and I believe we sat right here in these seats 7 days ago, and you gave Minooka zero chance to beat Plainfield Central. That's why they play the game.
But you know what? I think the coaching staff at Minooka gave themselves zero chance to beat Plainfield Central the way that they were doing things. Coach Paul Forsyth said, it was after the game, the first 3 games, he jokingly said it was the coach getting in the way. Minooka went back to doing what they do. Paul Forsyth likes to throw the ball, he likes to do a few different things, and I'm sure they're going to get there. I'm sure, as this kind of happens, as he's the head coach, they're going to get to his offense. He realized right now, these kids know a different set. They know the 3 running backs in the backfield. They know that wing formation. They don't know the eye. They don't know the passing the ball. To have them learn that right quick, they went back to what they do, what Minooka does. They put 3 guys in the backfield. They ran the ball downfield, downhill, and that's what happened. So, do I think it would have been a completely different game had Minooka stuck with what they did the first 3 weeks? Yes, completely. And I think they knew that too. That's why they went back to doing what they do. And honestly, I think they caught Plainfield Central off guard. I mean, you see film for 3 weeks on a team doing one thing, they come out and do something totally different against you.
Well, yeah, you're right, but that's why you never give teams zero chance. You got to learn your lesson, and you'll know based on our picks that you are falling way behind with all the games you got wrong this last week. But, Minooka now all of a sudden, they're not out of this conference race now. All of a sudden you play a game like that, you beat Plainfield Central, who was a favorite, and now Oswego is obviously a heavy favorite. I mean, they look like a team on a mission again this year to defend their title, but it goes back. Anything can happen in that conference. So Oswego looks awesome, but they could run into. I mean, they play Oswego this week, so I don't think this week's gonna be a problem. But they could run into a Plainfield North or Plainfield Central and lose as well.
Well, and you look at now, Minooka does have their first 4. You figure. Preseason, everybody said, as Oswego, Plainfield Central, Minooka, we're going to be the top 3 there. Well, you know what? They had Providence, they had Morris, they got those 2 heavy hitters out of the way. They've had Oswego, they've had Plainfield Central. They've had the 2 super hard, tough non-con games. They had the top 2 other teams, preseason already in conference. Now it's pretty much, you figure the schedule's now, if they keep playing that way, they can win out.
They could win now, but you can't forget about Plainfield North. I think I have Plainfield North in second place in the conference, and Plainfield North is tied with Oswego for first. They are 2-0 in the conference. That won't be an easy game at all for Minooka. This week might not even be an easy game. They got Plainfield East, who's a much improved team, but the way they played last week, Minooka looks like a pretty good chance. Moving to the across the conference, I mean, nothing really insurmountable happened in the SWSE, so we'll kind of skip them a little bit this week because everything kind of happened as planned. What about the ESCC though? You see, this conference is going to be tight, I think, all year. Nazareth right after playing Marist to a last-second game. Now they play JCA to a last-second overtime game. JCA escaped with a 1-point win, going for 2. We both disagree on whether they should have went for 2 or not, but JCA's got Marist this week after playing Nazareth. I mean, this is up for grabs right now.
I think you're going to see a state final game, 70-55, if JC's offense can get rolling. I mean, obviously it's going to take Ty some time to get back. I mean, he wasn't even supposed to come back until the Naz game. Came back early because they needed him. But this JCA defense, I mean, they showed it in the end of the season last year, the state final game. They can't stop a pass. And all off season, nothing got fixed. They still can't stop a pass. And
Harris is a team that likes to pass.
Right, I sit there, it just dumbfounds me. Granted, I'm not a coach. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and pretend that I know what I'm talking about.
He doesn't know what he's talking about. Just look at his picks.
But I sit there and I look at athletes on that field. I look at a kid like Jordan Jones, the transfer from Oswego who sat out last year. I look at a kid like Chris Tashida, who's just an athlete, can do whatever. They're wide receivers on that team. This JC team doesn't pass very much. So why not take these guys?
Having 500 yards passing, that's like a record for them.
But why not take these guys and keep them at the wide receiver position? But JC did have guys that go both ways. You had Jordan for a whole year in your system where he could practice and not play. Teach you to be a defensive back. Tashida comes in there. Like I said, the kid's an athlete. I mean, let him play some DB. Let these guys come in and help you out where you need the help more. If JC needs a pass, put him back in the game. But what JC wants to do is run the ball down your throat. So if they're doing what they want to do and run the ball with Isaac and Ivlo and Reitz, that's fine. Take your other guys, your athletes, put them where you need it the most. Put them at defensive back. Let them help you stop the pass. And it just dumbfounds me why you have these athletes in your system. You have a system that has guys play both ways, and you're not utilizing some of your athletes back there. It just, to me, it just doesn't make sense. I mean, I put my guys where we're needed, and that's coming off the state final game last year. That's where they were needed, and somebody's still needed there.
Yeah. It's really interesting, that conference. You have JCA 3-1, Marist 4-0. Nazareth 2-2
and
now.
everybody else passes the ball. They're going to see. They're going to see Marist. Yeah. They're going to see Bennett. They're going to see.
Yeah, Bennett's 3-1.
Pass the ball.
Notre Dame's 3-1, and I'm really disappointed that with Bennett and Notre Dame both being 3-1, they're not playing each other this year.
Right.
That's going to be a hard thing. But Carmel's 1-3, so they might be a little team that might be a little shift of power this year, and you might have, some of these other teams up there this year, and you got to like the way Bennett's doing it. Bennett's been very versatile offensively. Doing it both ways, running, passing. They haven't played a really tough schedule yet, though. We'll start seeing them get in some hard teams. Not this week because they got Marion and they should have dropped that one. I believe Marion. I'm sorry, it might be one of those two teams. Bennett or Notre Dame has Marion. But which team right now do you think is in better shape? Bennett, who's 3-1, or Notre Dame, who's 3-1, and it's Chris James, who's our leading rusher right now. So far this year, he's got almost 700 yards through 4 games.
I think in the long haul, Bennett's in better shape because I think Notre Dame is kind of they're just doing what they do. I think Bennett has a new sense of excitement again after. So I think when you have this thing going, I think those guys are fired up, and once you get that kind of momentum rolling on your side, I think a lot of things are possible. And you get into the playoffs. Where Notre Dame
might have the advantage there at 6A.
Yeah,
that's where they end up.
Yeah, so you get the class right. That 6A is usually a pretty weak class.
And you trickle up north again, and Niles West now 4-0 after being Highland Park, but Highland Park was winless, and Niles West barely won. Maine South 4-0. They're 1 week away from playing a showdown. It'd be awesome if those two teams, as rivals, are 5-0 each when they play each other. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. Niles West got a decently tough game this week against Waukegan.
Yeah, but even if they go with 5-0, 4-1, that's still. To have two teams, neighboring communities that to go into a game like that is a pretty big accomplishment.
Yeah, so it's across the board. We have a lot more teams that are competitive this year than last year. I think last year we had the haves and have-nots, and you had the Downer South, who lost again to Lyon, by the way, they're in big trouble right now. But you had Downer South, you had Bolingbrook, JCA, Maine South. You had those teams that are really good. Nobody else was even remotely good for the most part. And Notre Dame was decent, and you maybe had a couple other Plainfield South decent, a couple other decent teams, but nothing else. This year we have Downers North 3-1. We have Niles West 4-0, Notre Dame 3-1, Bennett 3-1. Plainfield Central 3-1.
Yeah, it's again interesting. But you mentioned, I know you jumped over to SWSC because this past week's games were nothing. It's going to get interesting here going forward now for the next 3 weeks now. Bolingbrook actually is going to be tested. We'll use that in quotes for 3 weeks. HF this week, Stanberg in 3 weeks, should be winnable games in 2 weeks. Obviously, that like what he's getting.
That's the game that everybody's looking at. I don't think the other 2 games really matter too much.
No, but at least they're getting into some games where something means something. Not just playing I think their combined teams through the first 4 weeks have 1 win.
Yeah, so, that's the exact opposite of what Romeo's had to deal with. Their combined opponents are 14-2, and to start off like that, that's brutal for a team, especially a team that's struggling on both sides of the ball. It's going to be interesting to see if they can get it back against Plainfield South this week. Plainfield South would beat Joliet West, and we saw Joliet West isn't a very good team.
Right.
So, who knows what's going to happen in that game, and what game are you most excited for this week to see what the outcome of?
I think I'm excited to see the Bolingbrook HF game just because I want to see.
That's not surprising.
Again, but HF is still it's the first test, and it's one of those games that it's going to be a surprise because you have Lincoln Way East there. So are the kids going to look ahead to Lincoln Way East? Are they going to sit back? Are they going to sit that? And are they going to look past HF, who's not a bad team, and look towards Lincoln Way East? And are they going to get caught in that game? The other thing the game I'm really looking forward to seeing is the Joliet Central Joliet West game because I know you laugh at that one, but I said 2 years in a row I picked my surprise team who's turned out to not to be anything what I thought they were going to be.
Florida, see 0-4 against 1-3. I mean,
yes,
it's not going to be good football we played.
No, but I'm still interested to see how the outcome. It's definitely not going to be good football. That's for sure. But it's.
I mean, we got games. We got Downers North, Downers South. I mean, how can it not be exciting? I mean, is Downers North for real? Is Downers South? I mean, that could change both team seasons right there. I mean, you have Plainfield North, Plainfield Central. I mean, that's arguably the best game this week that we're going to have. 2 3-1 teams going up against each other. How's that going to turn out? You have JCA and Marist. I mean, doesn't get much better than 4-0 and 3-1. I mean, what's going to happen there? Is JCA going to come out and stop the pass for a change? I mean, there's a lot of exciting games this week. A lot of games that aren't very interesting either, but it should be a fun week. It was a pretty good week last week. I think this week is going to be perhaps the best week of the season for us.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to get fun from here on out. I mean, as these teams start building that momentum, as these teams start getting further and further into this thing, it's going to get exciting. I mean, and it's going to be fun to watch the Niles West of the world and the Bennett's of the world after having disappointing seasons last year. It's going to be fun to watch them make those pushes to the playoffs. And who knows? Notre Dame gets a couple wins here in the next couple of weeks. They can maybe get in without having to wait till the last week of the season to secure their win and get in. So it's it's going to be fun just to watch all that and watch these teams, like I said, who were the have-nots last year. Down at North, maybe they win this week. They're pretty much close to securing their playoff berth. I mean, watch these teams as they make that push to the playoffs. I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun.
And we're going to make our picks for this week. We're going to do a little differently this week, be a little user-friendly, more user-friendly. And we're going to go by conference, let you guys decide which games you care about checking to see what we predict. So we'll be right back.